Ambassador, the Norwegian children learn since they are very little in the kindergarten about their rights, about how to use them and how to defend them. Can you tell us a bit how the system, the Norwegian system, works in this regard?
Yes, thank you. I will do that with pleasure, actually. Yes, referring to the schools, as you did, I think we, for instance, start with learning about our constitution and how old it is, since 1814, and the rights that are embedded in the constitution. When it comes to the system regarding child welfare, every municipality... No, first I should start by emphasizing that the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child is fully incorporated into Norwegian law. And the Child Welfare Act is given priority through the Human Rights Act, and also explained in there or phrased in the Constitution. So the rights of the child is very important in the Norwegian legal system. They learn about their right to have a safe environment, their right to be heard, their right to express their opinions, and their right to not being abused or mistreated in any way. They learn actually quite early how to stand up for themselves in a truthful and good way. The rule of law is the fundamental here, and that in this whole system, with the Child Welfare Service, we have a high degree of trust. It's built to protect our children. It's built to also give assistance to those who might need it, and that it's important that no one can instruct the county board. It's impartial, and that should there be a case, it has to follow the set procedure, and whatever family might be in the picture, they are entitled to a lawyer, and that lawyer is paid by the public, so that one is handling the process according to a set of procedures in the best possible way, and then with the interest of the child as the core of it. When it comes to the system, the Child Welfare Service, every municipality has a Child Welfare Service that will be, their main role is to assist families that might need some assistance, being it parents, being it children. Should there occur cases where the Child Welfare Service observe reasons for concern regarding violence, neglect or abuse, they can then intervene, and they can present the case to the independent Child Welfare Board in the county.
I know that the child can report to the authorities if he was abused, but are there any cases where a child, let's say it's frustrated by a parent and simply do a fake report? Is possible such a thing?
It's true that a child is actually raised to express the truth. Yeah. I cannot give any comment, or I cannot give any example, but if the Child Welfare Service is informed through the school by a child, they are obliged to do some further investigation. Yes. Maybe interesting to note that when there are debates about Child Welfare Service in Norway, it will be more often about Child Welfare Service not reacting than actually reacting.
How such an inquiry from the system develops? I mean, let's imagine that we have a child reporting an abuse. What is happening? What are the standard procedures? Let's call it like that.
The general procedure, but let me add that I'm not an expert on the field, but the child welfare service in a municipality will take note of what they receive of information and try to look into the matter. Yeah.
And are they asking, I don't know, neighbors, teachers?
Let me rather put it that way, that in the system or in the flow of information, if there is an observation at school, for instance, the school should inform or should at least address the concern. If there is a concern observed by the health clinic, where the child is taken for vaccination or regular control or checkups, health and weight and all these things, they should also be observant. So it will be normally several sources of information that adds to a case. And the schools, of course, have a special responsibility in paying attention to the welfare of the child.
And does this system have results?
It's a good question, because the majority of the cases where the child welfare is brought into the picture, you will find that families are assisted in one way or the other. It might be a family with a drug problem, for instance, or other reasons, but more than 7 out of 10 will then be assisted in continuing living in the family, because that is also very important to underline, that the main objective is that children should remain with their families and then to assist the families. It's only the last resort to issue a care order. Because it's a drastic measure and it's the last resort. It's not the first one decides on.
So to underline this aspect, the Norwegian law wants the child to be raised by its natural family, not to put first the abused child towards adoption.
Absolutely, and that is another dimension. Adoption by foster parents is very rare. Because again, it's a very drastic measure. So the first aim is to make sure that the children can be well taken care of by their own family. If one doesn't succeed, one can issue a care order, because the protection of the child is the main thing here, is the main objective. And in that context, with foster parents, it's very rare that foster parents do adopt their children. The adoption is only after a very long process. There are very strict measures that have to be looked into and fulfilled until one possibly has an adoption.